of this mid lane. He needs to make sure that AJ doesn't get to walk out for free, or at the very least, force him to use a lot of mana before he leaves that lane.
Absolutely. We've already seen how well teams are able to balance around resource management. Basically, deciding when is the right timing to take fights is very important in this current meta because of how valuable crowd control as well as utility tools are going to be. Therefore, if TODAK wants to be aggressive here, Barracuda needs to know their timings very well.
We talked about the snowball effect yesterday with the Roger, and we've seen an exact example of that. So it's very important for Barracuda to understand that you do not necessarily need to kill the Roger, but you have to prevent the Roger from getting this insane lead, because your tanks are not going to survive against him if he starts hitting those big island spikes. I am looking at Shizo. He has the Quantum Charge. Probably will go for a Thunderbelt Endless Battle build again, and that makes it even harder for tanks to stand against him because those true damage are going to hurt.
Did Hesu spot out Gary walking into the lane there? I felt like that one minion that was pushed past the middle point of that lane probably gave away his position. Hesu and Amal got to take their time overall, but yes, I'm expecting not much interaction from Barracuda towards TODAK's side. It's kind of on TODAK to make this big play, or at least find that first blood.
The momentum will be towards the team that is able to more effectively respond here. As of right now, Amal is going to be the first one on the turtle, but Rafflessia going to be able to scout things out instantly. Even though he's not level 4, Amal understands this risk. This is an important objective if they want to keep a certain degree of advantage against TODAK's early game lineup.
The threat of Momo's Barras as well, when you have an export or Barras on the enemy side, you can't just brute force your way through objectives, and Momo is forcing these resets, which actually benefits TODAK in the long run. Now they allow Gary to have a bit more time to gain that level advantage. He is level 5 compared to Amal's 4, and now here comes the fight. And Praetor's Grab actually secures the turtle for Barracuda, and the Phobius comes in for a double kill. Both Gary and Momo go down. Barracuda off to a great start.
Now, we didn't get to talk too much about Grace, but that was a great wild charge. Well timed, using the Nature's Barrier and timing it to make sure that it supplements alongside with Amal's Retribution, manages to catch Gary in the wild charge itself, and then locking him down just enough for Barracuda to clean up that fight. That's a very good start for this rookie.
Yeah, a really good eye for opportunity as well. Understanding that TODAK's positioning is very aggressive because they, of course, want to be the ones controlling tempo in this game. But all it takes is a single moment to reverse things. And Barracuda now are in a pretty solid position. If they're able to continue making plays like this, then TODAK's timing is going to slip away from them.
The best part is that you alleviate pressure from that goal lane. Now Claude feels a lot less pressured to make something happen. He can focus on farming. If Shizo is doing the same, it's completely fine. My side lanes are gaining something for my team.
And AJ also understands that, hey, as long as Trap is able to get us to his power spikes, we have a very good chance. My job is to be utility right now. I don't need to be the hyper carry just yet. And if Trap gets 3 items, then I can start thinking about taking resources off the map. So, taking double waves here for the side of Barracuda, they can play this for at least 9 more minutes until we start to see Barracuda really start to push their advantages.
So considering that is going to be the win condition that Barracuda Esports are going for here, I do want to ask again, Gideon, what does TODAK need to do?
Well, if they're looking for anywhere to punish, a good way to actually find an opportunity to do so is mid-rotation. Wait, hold on, no. They still are 2 clumped together here. Barracuda understanding that that is a potential way of losing. And you can notice, Gary, he's looking for opportunities to ambush targets who are either by themselves, isolated from the rest of the team.
But unfortunately, Grace isn't that target. We talked about this. If you can survive that burst, it doesn't matter if the Nolan is strong early on. And in this case, Barracuda, I think the next challenge, aside from taking objectives, is how do you break tier 1s?
Yeah, that's going to be a big question here. 5 minutes in, second turtle is coming out here. Ooh, TODAK trying to contest. Will they be able to get this one?
Turtle is going to be low. Amal, just quick trigger finger to scare Momo. Even missing the Daytona's welcome, that is not good because Hesu now finds the way in. Momo completely trapped. And then blazing duet from this Claude should get the finisher is Hesu on the killing spree. And at least Shizo gets one back. That one onto the AJ, but now he needs to get away with the flicker, and he will be successful in doing so.
Okay, not too bad for Shizo. It doesn't mean that Barracuda... it looks like they didn't want to go for the instant invade this time round, because they should have noticed that, at least for Zyme's standpoint, he is running out of mana. He cannot sustain this lane for too long until he gets his Enchanted Talisman. In the meantime, though, I like the game plan from Barracuda's side, right? Consistently grouping together, making sure that they scratch each other's backs, and more importantly, just supplementing Trap, making sure that he gets as much gold as possible.
Yeah, I'm really liking the coordination coming out from Barracuda Esports right now. Understanding what TODAK's win condition is, and then taking opportunity of timings to really press them when they've already used a lot of their resources, allows for them to be the ones that are pressuring the opponent, even when their lineup should logically be more late game centric.
This is great. I like it. They took the bot tier 1. Sure, they had to give up the top lane because Gary was able to make that rotation there, but at least you free up the side lanes a little bit. And this benefits both the gold laners. Shizo has 1 lane to play in, same with Trap. Third turtle is going to be spawning on the top side in 40 seconds, but looking at Barracuda's state right now, despite them having all 3 kills onto Hesu, there's not really a sizable goal lead for them. It's still a pretty even game.
I mean, we say that, but I will say that a majority, especially since Hesu was the one picking up a lot of those kills, they want to make sure that maybe Trap can actually get in on the action here, right? The fact that there's 20 seconds and the turtle is spawning on the top side of the map, the fact that they want to break that tier 1 on the top side as well, he's going to participate for this upcoming neutral.
Yeah, part of the reason I would think that the goal difference is not that big is because Barracuda have been moving around the map a lot more grouped up in comparison, which means that their supports are going to be getting a little bit less farm in comparison. But I imagine that Trap should be getting quite a lot of gold himself, which does skew the way that the gold is leaning here. But Third Turtle now going to be contested. Barracuda in full control of the pit.
Shizo is going to take the bot tier 1. This turtle given over to Barracuda. With all that being said, Gary is still ahead in terms of experience. Again, the Nolan clear speed is unmatched in actually almost all of the matchups. But Barracuda, they are going to trade the top tier 1 back, so still gaining some lead for themselves. Grace is just going to tank up the burst from Gary while charges to safety and actually ends up running into Momo instead. He will go down to Gary, but Momo might be sacrificed as a big full combo from AJ drops in. Here comes the bleeding duet from Trap, and AJ picks up the barrage. Trap wants a bit more. It's Shizo who joins the fight, ends up not being able to get away. Hesu can't get the pullback. Rafflessia saving his teammate, and Hesu ends up going down.
Really nice play coming in from Rafflessia to buy that extra bit of time, but while this is all happening, Barracuda are now working on these tier 2s, putting it down below 50%. He shouldn't be able to get this turret just yet. Roger should make it in time. And yes, Trap does not get the tier 2, but look at that. That's what we want to see from Barracuda's side. Grace, unfortunately, while charges into the Daytona Welcome's second part, which is the spitting the Fredrin back into him without being close enough to a wall with the power of nature. He still gets CC down, but at the end of it, right, who gets the kills? AJ, Hesu, and as well as Trap to make sure that these people who are going to be playing for the later stages of the game are going to accelerate.
Yeah, not to mention that Grace basically already completed his job at that point, eating the entirety of Rafflessia's combo and then dying after the wild charge is excellent there to set up for more kills from Barracuda. It's just that Hesu decided to overextend just a little bit to try and finish off Shizo. But despite the goal difference, again, not being that wide, Barracuda are firmly the ones in control here.
And I want to quickly point out the item build that we got a glimpse of just now, right? So Shizo is going to full damage Roger. So no Thunderbelt, no Endless Battle. This is just pure raw damage to try and assassinate perhaps Trap and AJ as fast as possible. I would argue you could do the same with the tanky Roger build, but perhaps in this case, Shizo felt the need that he needs that output as early as possible.
Yeah, he needs to be a threat. Keep in mind, when he is in human form on this Roger, he does some extra percentile damage, especially when we're thinking about how heavy they are hitting. Oh, it did not connect.
Flicker, wild charge. Momo is going to get locked down. Gary from the back to look for Trap, but the damage is just not enough. AJ, though, unfortunately, Trap in the Lord Pit. He will go down, but Hesu gets another trade, this time on the Gary. The jungler of TODAK is down. Rafflessia wants to go for Grace, but TODAK, maybe this is the opportunity to strike as Momo strikes down Hesu. Rafflessia is going to be low, but the Cho, just great movements, playing footsie with Barracuda. TODAK gets 2.
Ooh, a bit of a mistake there by Barracuda, starting to get a little bit overconfident with their positioning. So far, they've been able to win out these fights against TODAK because they've been patient and waited for their timing. But by splitting up their front and back line, they finally gave Gary a chance to actually chase Trap out of the fight. And even though he lost his life, Barracuda's team was now out of position and they could get more kills for themselves.
Ama will have to soak this up a little bit, take a beating. Here comes the Eternal Guardian, hitting onto Rafflessia, who will use the Shun Put to get out. Ama not too healthy. They want to focus him down, and Gary will find the collection. And this should be Lord for the side of TODAK. And they will get it. Barracuda on the run right now. Hesu with the demonic force is starting to pick up the pace. The tempo accelerating for Barracuda as I'm Senpoi sent running. It's an even trade, but TODAK gets the Lord.
Okay, and now the gold swings into TODAK's favor. And now Barracuda, they're trying to play a man-to-man defense here, and now that we're going straight away from mid in towards the later stages of the game, making that transition, that's not necessarily going to work. Zaim Senpai is a legitimate threat now. He's got the Enchanted Talisman, and he's also got the Necklace of Durance to make sure people like Imal, he can't just keep on taking these hits. He's not going to regenerate as much health as he'd like to.
Yeah, it's very effective against Barracuda's lineup because we can see that Fredrin, Phoveus are going to be pretty heavily affected by that anti-heal overall. And honestly, Barracuda, if they had played this just a little bit smarter and more patient, if they had kept the mindset that they had earlier in the game, they wouldn't have found themselves in this situation. TODAK have regained a grasp over this mid-game, and with the Lord now, are going to do some pretty notable structural damage.
Taking down that bottom tier 2, it's time to open up the map if you are TODAK. And all 3 waves are synced up. TODAK can do some massive damage to that outer line of defense. The conceal will expire. Rafflessia can't find an angle right now, but Amal this time is an even more important component for Barracuda's front line. You cannot let him get isolated in these potential team fights. Lord will be taken care of in the bottom lane as Barracuda keeps all the inhibitors intact.
Good stuff coming in from TODAK at the very least. They understand the item power spikes, they understand this current situation, they're very attentive and very present in this game. Unlike Barracuda, right? They need to kind of keep up with the times. At what stage of the game are you going to be strong, and how far can you push your lead? And I think as of right now, this 3,000 gold lead on TODAK's side, mainly coming in from Zaim Senpai's overall zoning, is a bit of a problem for Barracuda. So they need to start shifting their attention. Continue playing the front to front, but keep their eyes on the target. Grace should still keep Momo in check. Look to body block the Daytona's welcome. Maybe even Hesu, or considering Trap, could try and force out the black shoes from Zaim Senpai early on to make a significant play 30 seconds later.
Yeah, they gotta slow down the fights. Good shot calling is going to be key here as we approach into the next few minutes of the game, as it's clear that TODAK now actually has enough damage to threaten Barracuda's lineup and make it very difficult for them to actually want to play the game they're looking for.
You can see the gobble up, Momo finding the Fredrin, big burst damage coming through. TODAK unable to finish him off, and Ema will suck Momo back with Energy Eruption. Hesu with the finisher. Barracuda, big wild charge from Grace, and now the follow-up is here. Hesu gets the Dukes from Shizo. Scary does finish off Ema. It's still fair trade for now, but the Wisdom of Nature allows Trap to go for the dive. Rafflessia barely getting out, but can't say the same for Gary. Barracuda with the response.
Beautifully done there. Double kill for Trap, and well deserved. This is what we were talking about. These teams need to be more careful. The shot calling needs to be on point. Momo really did not need to jump that far in to get the catch onto Amal when the rest of his team was all there. Again, utility trading, making sure that cooldowns are being used effectively is how these teams are going to come out on top here. And because TODAK jumped the gun in that fight in a disadvantageous landscape, Barracuda were able to take control, and now they get the Lord.
I gotta give props to Grace here. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Coming in as a rookie, playing Grok of all things. I thought the age of Grok has already passed. Most people don't even know how to go for the Wild Charge Flicker at the right time. But Grace, I'm thinking that he made the call saying we can actually chase this down. They're about to walk into a trifecta of areas where I can hit multiple people with the Wild Charge, and he finds 3.
Yeah, 3 on the edge of the ability. Yep. That is not easy to land at all.
Yeah, you gotta love the aggression as well. The flicker into the Wild Charge to catch out Shizo much earlier in that fight as well is kind of proof that there's a big confidence from this player, even though he doesn't have that much experience on the MPL stage. We do call him a rookie, but technically he has played a season before, just not very much. He did go by a different alias back then as Amirul, now joining Barracuda as Grace. It's good to see that he has a chance to shine once again.
What I do like is also kind of the synergy between Grace and Hesu, which you don't really get to see kind of in plain sight. Every time a fight starts, Hesu already has his ult, but he's waiting for Grace to set up so he can ult in and start really following up in terms of the damage, and that's really what happened in that mid lane fight. Barracuda using this Lord to finally crack that mid tier 1 open.
It's just one of those small interactions, like getting simple knockups like that is actually going to proc that demonic force. And I really wish there was a clearer definition of what is going to be considered, well, like interactions like knockup compared to stuns. Stuns can't necessarily cancel certain abilities, but knockups can, right? I'm like, come on, where's the consistency in this?
If you play enough X-Borg, you will understand this. The line is very blurred.
Wow, 2,000 gold lead coming in from this quad so far, and we're looking for a crit build coming in for Shizo.
Yeah, crit build is pretty... Actually, it's an interesting choice to go for crit build here. You typically want to go for that if the enemy team is majority squishier heroes, but considering that you have 3 pretty bulky frontliners, you'd expect him to go something that could deal with tanky heroes a little bit better. With a build like this, it's clear that Shizo wants to be able to execute Trap and AJ, but so far their positioning has been immaculate.
Very, very good indeed. I mean, obviously the anti-cuirasses are going to be great, but I think it's not too bad in this type of situation, right? What is Shizo's job? He's going to be staying in human form for a majority of these fights and only diving in unless Gary or even Zyme Senpoi gets the big chunk.
Yeah, the item build doesn't allow you to aggressively dive in anymore. It would be different if we went the way that Innocent has done it, and the AI winning prediction says that Barracuda has a 62% chance of winning this game at this point of time.
I must say right now, I did do some predictions before the season started, and so far they've not been looking very good because I did put Barracuda at the very bottom of my list.
What did your AI say?
What did my AI say? Oh.
Definitely not Barracuda. I think it was King
No,
Empire.
My AI put King Empire at the bottom. I'm going to look it up right now. Where did they put Barracuda? Because they knew something I did not.
Well, let's see. Because if we're thinking of how the AI is going to predict it, right? I think that Barracuda are looking more like a team as of right now. I do think that TODAK's draft makes it slightly difficult to manage overall. Because again, Momo, he's getting body blocked by literally everything. Every time he wants to go in, either AJ fears him, Amal is like, oh no, I'm the main target. But Grace says, no, I have anti-CC. What are you really going to do about it?
They will be able to force out the Demonic Force very early from Hesu, and this could be an opening for TODAK to look at. From behind is Grace again! The eye for opportunity for the 2-man knockup, and Hesu continues to pummel them with that Demonic Force. Is trapped to follow up with the kill collection, and TODAK loses Momo.
We are seeing the impacts of playing an aggressive snowball type comp here. TODAK is very pressured to make something happen, and all Barracuda needs to do is make sure that they respond appropriately. Hesu surviving the engage, and then Grace coming from behind.
No, he will eventually die to Zyme Senpoi, but Trap, it is your time to shine. He is in the middle of the firefight. Gary executes him. Lord does go to Barracuda, and Shizo finally gets the time to show his fangs. Picking up AJ, and Gary gets a double.
Ooh, the TODAK fans are extremely happy about this. Big pickups coming in from Zyme Senpoi, right? Just chaining the Gloom together, making sure that it's always at its largest form, dealing the max amount of damage. Barracuda cannot just be taking these for free. They're going to lose an inhibitor for this.
The Lord went top, which means that TODAK might be able to end this in one go. The Lord didn't go where he's supposed to be. Grace, with his dying breath, cannot save it. TODAK turning it around in this game 1.